Welcome back to the ACIM Book Club. In this video, we'll cover section 2 in chapter 2 called The Cause of Separation. I'm Alison Anton with the Forgive Nest podcast for A Course in Miracles. This section rolls out the course's view of the separation, which is always a hot topic for course students everywhere. It references the traditional story of the fall and makes it clear that the course's notion of the separation is a correction for the familiar concept of the fall. So before we move into this discussion, as usual, let's get into our right-minded space so we can look at this section clearly. Please close your eyes. Take a deeper breath than usual and repeat to yourself, I am dreaming of separation and choose now to awaken. Okay, you can open your eyes and we will dive in and we'll start with our summary. The Garden of Eden represents the pre-separation state, in which, having been created perfect, I needed nothing. I, however, believed that I could change what God created and essentially create myself. Yet I did not really change anything. I merely fell asleep and began experiencing nightmares. Now I must accept the atonement, which puts me in a position to realize that my errors never really occurred. So the first correction that Jesus has already made from chapter 1 is that the separation is a better term than the fall. This is because it's impossible for any of us to fall, including angels. This section really is a deeper discourse on projection. He says, we will refer later to projection as related to both mental illness and mental health. This first line in paragraph 3 indicates again that we can project in the negative, as in miscreation, and also in the positive, as in true creation. We're always projecting something, whether we're creating or miscreating. And here's some foreshadowing he gives us. It has also been commented on that Lucifer literally projected himself from heaven. So this was in reference to that not even angels can fall. But just like us, they can project. So he's comparing us to the angels here, that our ability to project is the same, or at least similar. He goes on, we also have observed that you can make an empty shell, but cannot make nothing at all. This emptiness provides the screen for the misuse of projection. I envision a kind of mind bubble here, or a hologram. I like to call this empty shell a dream screen. In any case, that last sentence is a powerful one. We essentially make an empty screen that we project our miscreation onto. This is pretty epic, considering the screen we're looking at with our physical eyes is the world and the 3D universe. He does a deeper dive into both kinds of projection in a little bit, but before that, Jesus corrects what the Garden of Eden was according to A Course in Miracles. In paragraph 4, he says, the Garden of Eden, which is described as a literal garden in the Bible, was not originally an actual garden at all. It was merely a mental state of complete need lack. Even in the literal account, it is noteworthy that the pre-separation state was essentially one in which man needed nothing. And jumping to paragraphs 5 and 6, he continues, "You have not only been fully created, but also been created perfect. There is no emptiness in you." We clearly see that before the separation, our mental state was truly heavenly. It was a perfect reflection of God's mind. But then he gives us a rundown of what happens when we use our creative ability to project in the misdirected way. This was a means we used to try and replace God's creation with something else. He makes it clear in a bit that this is the process of separation, and he's also clear that the process is illusory, that we're projecting the ideas rather than seeing what's real. Whenever projection in its inappropriate sense is utilized, it always implies that some emptiness or lack of everything must exist, and that it is within your ability to put your own ideas there instead of the truth. If you will consider carefully what this entails, the following will become quite apparent. Then he gives us 4 assumptions we made that the separation could actually occur. These assumptions are false. First, the assumption is implicit that what God has created can be changed by your own mind. We weirdly believe that we can usurp what God created. In a way, we can say this is a form of going into competition with God. Second, the concept has intruded that what is perfect can be rendered imperfect or wanting. To justify our desire to usurp God's perfect creation, we wrongly made ourselves believe that something was missing within that creation. Third, the belief has arisen and is tolerated that you can distort the creations of God, including yourself. Because we're powerful creators, we assume we can take what God created and change it. He's clear here in this statement that this is not something that only happened in the past, but is still happening now. Fourth, the idea has entered that since you can create yourself, the direction of your own creation is up to you. So this last assumption is twofold. We assume we created ourselves, but we did not. It also suggests that we think we can just do whatever we want because we think we created ourselves. And the following sentence I highlighted in yellow because he states that these 4 assumptions are a good representation of the separation and that it's all an illusion we made in our mind. These related distortions represent a picture of what actually occurred in the separation. None of this existed before, nor does it actually exist now. To follow this up, he implicitly states that we're dreaming the separation. All the assumptions we made about our ability to usurp God are a dream. He gives a reference to a statement that the founder of Christian Science made. Nowhere is there any reference made to Adam waking up. He goes on about this. The history of humanity in the world as you see it has not been characterized by any genuine or comprehensive reawakening or rebirth. This is impossible as long as humanity projects in the spirit of miscreation. All of us are sleeping and dreaming the separation. We do, of course, have accounts of various individuals achieving enlightenment, but he's right in that there's never been a reawakening in mass that we know of. We're collectively dreaming, And it's going to take a cooperative venture on all of our parts to wake us all up. He finishes with the emphasis on that we believe the lie of the serpent, so to speak, in that we think our ability to project could actually usurp what God created. And we're deeply fearful of that. All fear is ultimately reducible to the basic misperception that you have the ability to usurp the power of God. It is again emphasized that you neither can nor have been able to do this. Thank God. In this statement lies the real justification for your escape from fear. The solution, of course, is using the atonement as our defense, which we'll really dive deeply into all throughout chapter 2. The escape from fear is brought about by your acceptance of the atonement, which places you in a position to realize that your own errors never really occurred. So hopefully this section helps all of us envision a new story of the fall. Rather than seeing ourselves as fallen creatures, we can see ourselves as merely sleeping with the absolute power to awaken whenever we choose. We'll end there, but I really want you to ponder some things today, which I'm sure you will, because today's topic of the separation, I think, is one that everyone who reads A Course in Miracles thinks about a lot. Things to think about are, to what degree do you, at least unconsciously, feel fallen? How can the Course's new story of the separation help you heal this? We'll formally end this commentary here with an affirmation to ourselves. You should be repeating this one to yourself all throughout the day today. Close your eyes, please, and repeat to yourself. I am dreaming of separation and choose now to awaken. Amen. Okay, you can open your eyes now, and we'll continue tomorrow with our commentary on section 3 of chapter 2 called The Proper Use of Denial. Thanks for watching. I'm Alison Anton with the Forgive Nest podcast for A Course in Miracles. It was great talking to you.